Hey guys, what's good? Cybermage here, and in this video we are going to be doing exploit Jenkins in the cloud. I would say the main learning point in this is knowing or learning how to enumerate Jenkins. But yeah, besides that, there's not really that much. We've been using or enumerating S3 buckets, so that is involved. But the main point in this one is enumerating Jenkins application in this one. So let's read the scenario. During your security assessment for huge logistics, you've been handed various IP addresses relating to their infrastructure. One IP address in particular seems interesting. Your task is to investigate this IP address, exploit vulnerabilities, and escalate your permissions within their AWS environment. Every finding will help the company bolster their defenses. So we're given an IP address, and the first thing we want to do is just run nmap against it. So sudo nmap map pn to ignore or not send ICMP request to check if it's alive. And yeah, we got two IP or ports that are open, 22 and 8080. Usually I like running an all port scan, but in this case, this should suffice. So we have 2020 and 8080. We could start brute forcing on 2020, but that would be just very irrational and a very inefficient thing to do because we don't have any username or password or anything like this that we could utilize for brute forcing 22. So let's take a look at 8080 then. Let's visit the website. And we see that the Jenkins application has appeared. And a couple of places you would want to enumerate first is just going to people, seeing that there's two people. Let's click on these and see what we can find out of them. Good thing to do is just to click honestly every single thing. That's kind of what I do. Go to configure, check all of these out, any sensitive information. And yeah, nothing here. We can check for anonymous as well. So let's go to builds, configure. Yeah, pretty much nothing. Let's go ahead and go to dashboard here and just click manage Jenkins. The other place that we would want to enumerate is system, which would show us global settings. So let's click this and take a look at what we can find. And we do find some AWS credentials, which it also has this bucket name. So I'm assuming that these credentials can access this bucket. So let's go ahead and log in using these credentials. And we're also going to put the region. Now let's take a look at the bucket, Jenkins config load. And there's an admin directory and there's this config.xml file. Let's see if we can access admin directory. And there's a Jenkins backup.sh over here. So let's also try to get this file. And we can see that we got an error that says forbidden. So our user doesn't have access to this file pretty much. Let's try to get this config.xml. And what we're trying to do right here is we're trying to find some sensitive information that could give us access to the AWS environment, right? So we do have one that can access this bucket. But yeah, right now we don't have anything. Hopefully we can find something here. Some credentials, something like this. nothing. It just says test job. I don't know if this job is being ran, but if it is, it could be possible that our user could um, edit this and upload this to the bucket. And yeah, this could be possible, but that is not the case in this scenario. So let's go ahead and just see what our user's name is. It's just Jenkins, so pretty sure he can't really do anything special besides access this config.xml file. We don't want to get too distracted with this user and just completely focus on this. What we should do first is enumerate this Jenkins environment completely, you know, or else we would get stuck in a rabbit hole. So let's go ahead and enumerate this and see what else we can find. So going to manage Jenkins. And because this is a CTF, you have to think of in a CTF mindset. There is an admin directory that was available. Our user could not gain access to that. It's pretty, I would say it's pretty logical to assume that, hey, the CTF wants us to find another credential that could lead to gaining access to that directory or that file. So let's go down to security and this credentials area. And we see that there is this credentials stored in system, ID Jenkins admin, and the name is this. So right there, because the ID says Jenkins admin and it says Jenkins admin AWS credentials, we can assume that this user probably has access to the admin directory. Let's click on name and then click on update to see more information. And we have the access key ID over here, but the secret access key is concealed. One of the things that you can do in Jenkins is just right click and just click inspect, and we can try to see what the access key is using the source code pretty much. So let's try to navigate to the right area over here. We're going to go here, click this, and we're going to try to highlight the secret access key box. And we can see we have this hidden password written over here. I don't know if it's visible for you, but it's there. It's also highlighting secret access key. If we click that, we do get this value over here. So let's copy this for now. Copy. Just going to open another tab because that's going to be useful for us. Now the thing is that Jenkins likes encoding or encrypting the things that's stored in Jenkins pretty much. So, but there's a pretty easy way to decrypt that. We can just go here and write how to decrypt Jenkins credentials. And voila, AI is always here to help us, and we do find a way to decrypt that. So example, if you have the encrypted password like XX equals this, you would paste it into the script console. So just like that. We can copy this and use this new tab to access the script console. And one of the things that I'll let you know what my mistake was in CTFs involving Jenkins. Obviously, if you've done like a bunch of hack the box, you've probably came across Jenkins, is that we all know you can get a reverse shell using the script console, right? It allows us to execute code or type in arbitrary Groovy script and execute it on the server. So we're executing code on the server and we can use it to get a reverse shell. But one of the things that you should not do is just rush straight into the script console and try to get a reverse shell ASAP, you know? The whole point is to enumerate everything properly. And if we just ran into this environment or this lab and we did this right away, we would be missing these admin credentials, you know? So that's just a tip for another like CTF. Make sure you enumerate thoroughly. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and take this, remove this, and copy this value over here. So copy that and place it in here. Just click run. And we do have our secret access key. Let's try to log in using it. AWS configure. And we can keep our region the same. We should be good to go. AWS S3, CP S3. And let's copy this to our current directory. Let's open this now. And we can see we find this password. And from what we've seen before from our nmap scan, we know that SSH is open. So we could try this with common names. Like for example, if we do AWS STS, color identity, we could try this with Jenkins admin or Jenkins like our previous user, or we could try this with root as well. So if you go over here and do SSH root at IP, and the permission is denied, so we can't really use a password to get in there. So, well, that sucks. But we could try to, we'll save this, we'll save this in our notes and that we came across this password, because obviously a bunch of times passwords are reused. And right now, next thing we got to do is, oh yeah, we can utilize the script console to gain access to the machine, right? The EC2 machine. So code for that would be this right over here. And one of the things that you would want to do, we can see that we're the Jenkins user, so we could try this. We could try cat executable password, and this should give us a list of users. In this case, it didn't work. Oops, because I wrote car. And there we go. We could try all of these, you know? So, but in this CTF, that's really not the way in. But yeah, that is something that you can note for in the future, you know? So we do have command access. We could try to get a reverse shell. I'm going to pause the video and find my script that helps us get a reverse shell. So just give me a minute. All right, I'm back. So here we have it, bin bash, the command to execute, and in this case, we got to change our IP to our actual IP, 809, and we can try a common port. One of the things that I like doing is that if I notice that 22 or 8080 is open on a machine, I would try the exact same ports, you know, 22. The other thing you can do is just try the common ports, right? Just 80, which usually works. And that is pretty much it. Keep everything else the same. We can just do here sudo netcat lvnp 80 listening on 80. You can run this. And we notice that we're not getting any connection back. So you can try this with a bunch of ports, but in this case, the firewall is pretty tight and you're not going to be able to make any of these ports work. So the other thing you can do is put an SSH key or SSH private key in here, and take the public key, access it, or the other way around. I don't really remember how it works, but I just keep getting confused with those concepts. But the easy way is, I believe in the way that they taught, you're creating this, and you're only able to execute command, blah, blah. Authorize key. Yeah, so you're basically taking the private key, and you're keeping the public key in their authorized keys. And all these commands on the server honestly would not be ideal. And I think it's just kind of annoying to do it this way. So I'm going to do it the other way, where we actually do this on our machine and then just upload the public key in the .sh authorized keys directory. So let's go ahead and first create the .sh file. But before that, we should actually check environments to see where home um, our user's home directory is. So let's go here and this. And I think it was because I just let the whole thing run or try to connect to us. I will pause the video and try to fix this, and then I'll be right back because I don't want to waste your guys' time just watching me try to fix this because it's just a minor issue. Be right back. Sorry guys, I'm back. I had some network adapter issues with VMware, so yeah, it took a bit longer than expected. So we found the SSH or the backup file. Now we're gonna go back to Jenkins and see if we can get a reverse shell. We tried that, that didn't work. So now we're gonna try to put the public key inside of here and then use a private key to access it. We can just run this command over here and on work. This is unexpected, not another issue. It's kind of annoying. All right then. that really sucks. That just means I'm gonna restart the whole thing again. All right then. Be right back again. All right, so I ran this command and we know that we are in this directory. Let's see the environment variables and see the home location for this user. And it says here Jenkins home var lib Jenkins. So we're in the right directory. And just to confirm that our user is actually Jenkins, or there's a user over here, we could do ID and there we go. So that's what we're going to use with our SSH command when we're, logging in. So let's go ahead and make a directory called .sh. And it's blank here, meaning it worked, because we're not going to get any output from this command. So now that it worked, we can go to our own machine and we'll run this. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is just because I feel this is much more easier, better. Yeah, it's just an easier and better way to do it personally. So SSH keygen T RSA NB 4096 and enter file in which to save the key. We can just press enter. ID RSA already exists. We'll just overwrite that. It's fine. Passphrase, press enter and keep it empty. Press enter again, and there we go. So we have it there. And if we do ls, we will notice. Actually, we should just go in here. And there we go. We have ID RSA and ID RSA pub. Let's cat this file. And this is what we want to put into Jenkins. So you can just put into ChatGPT and just paste this and just say, hey, write me a command to paste my ID RSA.pub to authorize underscore keys file. So that's what I did, and this is the command we have. I am going to change all of this, so copy this. And we are going to take this. And there we go. So let's run this command. So run and no results. So to confirm if this worked, we can just do SSH I Jenkins. Now, we're using our private key this time and the IP of this machine. So paste that in there and just click yes. And it worked. That was much more easier. So because we covered password reuse, we were talking about that, we can go ahead and check the password that we found in this and try it against root user. All right, so sudo root su root and paste that in there, and voila, we are the root user. We can just enter a cd to go to its home directory, ls, and there is the flag.txt. So that is pretty much it for this lab. And again, the main learning point was pretty much enumerating Jenkins and not just rushing to the script console to get a reverse shell and doing all this. Yeah, so the main point is that make sure you do through enumeration. I would say that's the best thing for your methodology. But besides that, we've learned multiple places where we can do enumeration with Jenkins, right? Just going through all there. And yeah, that is pretty much it, including the, insight inspectability, right? Reading the source code or anything that's hidden in Jenkins or concealed pretty much. So yeah, that's it, and take care.